Welcome to SoulScripture. If this message has found you, chosen one, it is not by accident, it is by divine appointment. Something is shifting in the unseen realm, and heaven has issued a decree concerning your life. A decree so weighty, so irreversible, that everything you've known is about to be rewritten. Your name has been called in the Spirit, and your path is being altered by the hand of the Almighty Himself. This isn't just another video. It's a spiritual transmission, a declaration from the throne room. And if your spirit is open, if your heart is ready, this message will ignite something eternal in you. So listen closely, because what you do with this word will determine the momentum of your next season. There is a divine shift beginning right now. Not later, not eventually, now. The ground beneath your spiritual feet is moving. Realms are rearranging. The old doors are closing, but not in loss. In completion, what once felt delayed, denied, or withheld, is now being released like floodwaters through a cracked dam. God has determined that you have entered your season of divine override. You've reached a threshold in your spiritual walk where your striving can no longer sustain you, not because it wasn't honorable, but because it's no longer necessary. For years, you've carried the weight, the bills, the heartbreak, the unanswered questions. You've worked twice as hard for half the reward. And yet, no one saw the nights you went without sleep, the moments you questioned your calling, the days you almost gave up. But God did. Heaven did. And now, heaven has responded. The decree over you is this: no more toil, no more anxiety, no more running after provision. Because the shift isn't just happening around you, it's happening inside of you. You're not being released from work. You're being released from worry, the torment of constantly thinking, how will I survive this month? What if it all falls apart again? That storm of fear is being silenced. This is not about laziness. This is about spiritual rest. This is about prophetic trust. God is not asking you to stop showing up. He's asking you to stop striving as if you are the source of your abundance. That year, you believed you had to earn your worth. Hustle to be secure. Chase what was already written for you is being burned out of your system. Because from this moment on, provision will come through a new current. Not effort, but alignment. Not grind, but grace. There's a reason you felt exhausted lately, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, because your old way of surviving is no longer compatible with your new season of thriving. What used to work is now breaking down because you're no longer being sustained by human systems. You're being positioned to live on supernatural supply. Chosen one. This is the moment you must decide. Will you keep leaning on your own understanding? Or will you step into the mystery of divine timing? Will you keep chasing closed doors? Or will you rest and allow heaven to open what no man can shut? Let me be clear. This doesn't mean you do nothing. This means you no longer try to be God. You no longer try to force outcomes that only the Holy Spirit can bring into place. You stop bowing to the false gods of scarcity, fear, and performance. And instead, you return to the knowing that you were always sustained by something deeper. Because the truth is, you were never just working a job. You were undergoing a spiritual conditioning. And now, the one who sent you into the wilderness is the same, one calling you out of it. You are stepping into the fulfillment of promises made in silence. Promises that are now becoming visible, tangible, undeniable. So take a breath. Something has shifted. You're not who you were last year. even last week. The realm around you has changed. What used to be hard will begin to come with ease. What used to take years will now take days. What used to break you will now bow to you. Because when God says, "It's my duty now," He means you're moving from the labor of your hands to the favor of His heart. This is only the beginning. You didn't go through all those battles for nothing. Chosen one. The struggle wasn't just a season, it was a setup. Every disappointment, every delay, every door that slammed in your face was preparing you for what's unfolding now. You see, while others may have judged your life by what they could see, heaven was weighing your endurance. And now the scale has tipped in your favor. Let's be real, the years behind you have not been easy. You felt the sting of lack, the pressure of responsibility, the exhaustion that comes from always having to figure it out. And no one knew the whole story. They saw your strength, but they didn't see the silent tears. They heard your laughter, but they didn't know it, sometimes hid heartbreak. But God knew, and while you were surviving, He was documenting your faithfulness. Because, chosen one, the wilderness wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The pain you endured was not because you were cursed, but because you were called. The fire didn't burn you, it forged you. It refined you into someone who could carry the weight of glory without collapsing. Many are anointed, but few are proven. And you've been proven in silence. There's something sacred about the private battles, the ones where you cry out to God behind closed doors and still wake up the next day and keep going. Those nights you prayed for provision with nothing in your bank account. Those moments you had to smile while your world was breaking. That wasn't weakness, that was spiritual endurance. And now, heaven is rewarding what others overlooked. Do you know why the pressure was so intense? Because what you carry is not ordinary. Your destiny is not average. You are not like the masses. You are the remnant. You are the evidence that obedience in the dark leads to breakthrough in the light. And let me remind you, God wastes nothing. Not your heartbreak, not your confusion, not even the time you thought was lost. Every trial was a tool. Every rejection was redirection. Every delay was divine protection. You didn't miss your moment, you were being molded for it. Now that molding is complete, you are emerging from that place of brokenness as someone unstoppable, someone dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, someone who carries oil that only pain can produce. And what's beautiful is this: even your enemies were used to promote you. Yes, those who mocked you, doubted you, spoke against you, they all unknowingly helped birth the hunger and humility that made you spiritually lethal. Don't curse your past. Honor it. It trained you for a future that few will ever touch. You've survived seasons that should have taken you out. You walked through fires that left others bitter, yet your spirit remained soft. That is a miracle in itself. And it's exactly why God is now releasing the reward. This is where the narrative changes. This is where you start to see the fruit of all the obedience that once felt pointless. This is where the cracks in your soul become channels for glory. God is about to make an open display of His favor on your life, and it's not just for you. It's for those watching, because when they see what's about to happen, they'll have no choice but to ask, how did they survive all that and still rise? The answer will be simple: God did it. Note, so don't despise your history. Chosen one. Honor it. Those years of grinding, of hoping, of trusting without results, they were sacred. And now they are producing something priceless. Evidence that God is faithful. Evidence that endurance has a reward. evidence that the pain had a purpose. The years of training are over. Now comes the promotion. Heaven's treasury has just been unlocked and your name is on the release. This isn't just symbolic wealth or vague spiritual prosperity. No. This is real, tangible, appointed. The time has come for you, chosen one, to receive what has always belonged to you in the spirit, but has been withheld until you were ready in the natural. Let's make something clear. God doesn't pour out destiny prematurely. He waits until the vessel can carry the blessing without leaking. And now, you have been deemed ready, proven, trusted. You've been through the crushing. Now you qualify for the crown. There is a spiritual inheritance with your name written across it. It is not earned by performance, nor granted by public opinion. It is released by identity, and your identity has always been chosen. You are not a beggar at the gates, you are a rightful heir. The kingdom has a treasury, and you are not just a visitor. You are a blood-bound citizen of that kingdom, and everything it holds is now moving in your direction. What does that look like? It means divine provision that breaks natural law. It means finances appearing where logic says they shouldn't. It means solutions showing up before problems fully manifest. It means connections, open doors, resources, and favor chasing you, instead of you chasing them. But hear this clearly. This isn't about greed or vanity. This is about divine positioning. You're not being blessed just so you can say you're blessed. You're being equipped for mission, for purpose, for legacy. God is not blessing you for applause. He's blessing you for impact. There's a wealth that comes from the world. It's fickle, conditional, performance-based. But then there's asterisk heaven's wealth. Asterisk. It flows from obedience, from alignment, from covenant, and it multiplies, not just in your bank account, but in your spirit, your home, your relationships, your influence. That's what's being released now. And the best part? You don't have to strive to access it. You don't have to manipulate or hustle. You just have to receive. Asterisk, because God's not asking for your grind in this season. He's asking for your agreement. Say yes. Say yes to divine provision. Say yes to effortless favor. Say yes to being the one who walks in overflow when others expected you to barely get by. Can you feel it? That pressure in the atmosphere? That isn't tension. It's a birth. Asterisk. The inheritance is crowning, and the enemy can't stop it. He tried through fear, through distraction, through delays, but heaven overruled every attack. You may not see the full manifestation yet, but the spiritual decree has already been signed. The treasury is open. The release has begun. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf to orchestrate the right phone call, the right opportunity, the right breakthrough. All you have to do is stay in position. What does that position look like? Stillness, faith, trust. No more panic. No more, how will I make it this month? That mindset is over. You've stepped into a dimension where heaven covers you in advance. Asterisk, where you don't chase. After answers, they arrive before the question finishes forming. Chosen one. Your inheritance includes more than money. It includes time, peace, energy, restoration. That which was stolen will be returned. That which was withheld will be poured out. God didn't forget about you. He was just preparing the stage for your arrival. And now, it's your turn. Your spiritual inheritance is not just a future event. It's a present reality. Claim it, Speak it. Align with it. Because once heaven releases a word, nothing in hell can reverse it. You've been faithful in lack, no. You will be fruitful in abundance. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the old system no longer fits. When the way you used to earn, survive, hustlite starts to feel like sand slipping through your fingers. That moment is here. And hear this, you were never meant to labor endlessly to prove your worth. You were created to walk with God and receive from Him, not wrestle your way through scarcity, trying to earn His favor. From this point forward, work is no longer your source. Asterisk, God is. Let that settle into your spirit. The hours, the overtime, the drained energy, it was necessary for a time. It built discipline. It built character. But now that season is complete. You're crossing over into something deeper, a dimension where you operate from alignment, not exhaustion. Where you attract provision through your position in the spirit, not through the panic of performance. The world taught you that if you stop grinding, you'll fall behind. But God says, if you'll stop grinding and start trusting, I'll put you years ahead. That's the kingdom economy. It doesn't operate on effort alone. It flows on faith and favor. Now, this doesn't mean you sit idle and expect gold to rain from the sky. No. It means you stop being enslaved to a broken system that convinced you that your value was measured by how tired you are. You've been conditioned to think that rest is laziness. But in the kingdom, rest is strategy. It's obedience. It's trust in motion. Chosen one. God is shifting you into a space where your value is no longer tied to productivity, where your worth is not measured by how many hours you put in, but by how present you are with His presence. For years, you were trained to be a worker. Now, He's training you to be a receiver. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? To let go of the belief that if I don't do it, it won't get done. But that's the very belief God is dismantling. Because in this next season, you will see miracles not born of effort, but born of surrender. God is about to show you what it looks like to have heaven back your vision, without you having to run yourself into the ground. There are assignments God has waiting for you, creative works, divine conversation, new ventures that you haven't had the bandwidth to notice because you were stuck in survival mode. But as you release control and stop trying to generate everything with your own hands, you'll find yourself in divine flow. Not friction. Flow. That business idea, it's going to prosper. Not because you grind 18 hours a day, but because you release it into God's rhythm. That vision you've carried, it's going to gain traction not because of how loud you shout, but because of how deeply you trust. This is the holy reversal, where God does, in one moment, what would have taken you 10 years, where favor outruns fatigue, where rest becomes your weapon. And don't be surprised when others don't understand. Some will say, you're being irresponsible. You can't just stop pushing. But they didn't walk through your fire. They didn't carry your cross. They don't hear what God is whispering to your spirit. This is my duty now. You're not quitting. You're graduating. Because when a chosen one finally releases the burden of being their own provider, heaven gets to prove that it always had their back. And trust me, what God can release through one moment of divine alignment will outweigh a decade of toil. So rest not in passivity, but in power. Not because you're giving up, but because you're rising up into the life God has already prepared for you. This is your liberation. Work no longer defines you. God does. There are things happening behind the scenes of your life right now that your physical eyes cannot see. Heaven is orchestrating a divine alignment so precise, so intentional, that if you could see it all at once, it would bring you to your knees. Chosen one. While you've been resting in trust, God has been working in stealth. This is the season where God is orchestrating wealth in secret. Think about Joseph, forgotten in prison, invisible to the world. But while it seemed nothing was moving on the surface, God was arranging a dream in Pharaoh's mind. A dream that would catapult Joseph from obscurity to authority in a single day. One divine connection, one moment of favor. That's all it takes to flip the script on your entire life. And you, chosen one, are next in line. You've been wondering why things went quiet, why doors seemed to pause, why opportunities felt distant. It's not because you were forgotten, it's because you were being concealed. Asterisk, God was hiding you in plain sight, preparing you for an entrance that no one, including your enemies, will be able to deny. Your name is being whispered in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your favor is growing in places your feet haven't touched. There are divine connections forming strategic alliances that are being assigned to your destiny. People you haven't met yet are about to play key roles in your financial and spiritual elevation. Not because you campaigned, not because you chased, but because your faith created a ripple in the spirit realm that heaven is now honoring. Hear this. God does some of his greatest work in silence, when things seem the most still, the most uncertain, the most mundane. That's when the blueprint is being finalized. The enemy wants you to panic in the quiet, but heaven wants you to prepare. Because when the curtain lifts on this next chapter, the speed of the shift will be supernatural. Suddenly, the email arrives. Suddenly, the debt is cancelled. Suddenly, the opportunity finds Asterisk. This isn't just motivational talk. This is prophetic truth. You're not stepping into manufactured success. You're walking into orchestrated abundance. God has been lining up timelines, softening hearts, shifting laws, adjusting atmosphere soul for you. Asterisk. That's why the warfare increased. That's why the delays stretched longer than expected. Because the enemy sensed something massive was being put in place. And now, it's done. The documents are signed in the spirit. The pathway is clear. The wealth transfer is not a fantasy, it's an unfolding divine transaction. You're not just being rescued from lack, you're being strategically positioned in legacy. The kind of legacy that touches generations. The kind of provision that funds missions, ideas, and restoration. You've prayed for enough to survive. God is giving you more than enough to overflow. So don't get discouraged if you can't yet see the full picture. Remember, rain begins in the heavens before you feel a single drop on your skin. And in this moment, the clouds are full. Chosen one. What's coming will be so tailor-made for you that it won't make sense to anyone else. You'll step into opportunities you didn't apply for. You'll receive favor you didn't negotiate. Not because of who you know, but because of whose you are. God is making moves on your behalf. Quietly, strategically, and when it manifests, it will come with such peace and clarity. You'll know without question it was him. It was always him. So keep resting. Keep listening. Stay in alignment. You are on the edge of a divinely orchestrated reveal that will not only change your finances, but will validate your faith in front of the world. The shift is not coming. It's already here. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The very people who dismissed you, doubted you, and whispered behind your back are about to witness the favor of God surround you like a shield. Chosen one. You didn't just survive what tried to take you out, you evolved through it. And now, your story is about to silence the mockery. The tables are turning. There were moments when people looked at your life and assumed failure. They saw your bank account, your struggle, to your palsy, and they labeled you lazy, unqualified, unlucky. Some even called you delusional for still believing in a God-sized promise that hadn't yet shown up in your natural world. But what they didn't understand was that God had hidden your process for a purpose. He didn't need their applause, He needed your obedience. You see, God allows seasons of obscurity to test who you're becoming when no one is clapping for you. Will you keep walking when there's no recognition? Will you keep giving when there's no return? Will you keep believing when everything screams, "Give up"? You did. You passed. And now, heaven is placing you on display not for ego, but for evidence. Yes, God is about to make you a walking testimony. Your increase will not just be personal, it will be public. Asterisk, not to humiliate others, but to glorify the God who kept you when no one else did. The same mouths that once gossiped will now be silenced in awe. The same eyes that rolled when you spoke of vision will now widen in amazement. And let's talk about that vision for a second. Remember how you used to speak of dreams that felt too big for your surroundings, how your ideas made others uncomfortable. It wasn't arrogance, it was prophetic alignment. Asterisk, God was showing you glimpses of a future they weren't equipped to perceive. That's why they laughed. That's why they mocked. Not because your vision was flawed, but because it revealed how small their faith really was. But now, the very things they said would never happen. They're unfolding before your eyes. You will be the evidence that God still lifts the humble, that He still raises those who trust. Even when it looks foolish, you are about to be the exception to every expectation they placed on your life. The narrative is changing, and it's not just changing for your benefit, it's changing through you. Because the truth is, chosen one, they needed to see someone like you win. Someone with your background, your struggle, your pain. When God elevates you, asterisk, it becomes undeniable that it wasn't favoritism, it was faith. Don't let bitterness grow roots. Don't let resentment distract you. Forgive them, for they knew not what they were mocking. They weren't laughing at you, they were reacting to what they couldn't understand. And soon, many of them will circle back not to gloat, but to learn. Your obedience is about to become their inspiration. You will stand in rooms where your name was once disrespected. You will sit at tables built for those who never thought you'd qualify. You will be called blessed by the same voices that once said you were cursed. That's how God moves. Not out of vengeance, but vindication. And when it happens, when the blessings become too big to hide, stay grounded. Remember the nights you cried out for breakthrough, the days you sowed in silence, the moments you doubted your own reflection. Let those memories humble you, not haunt you. Because this elevation is not just a reward, it's a responsibility. Asterisk, you're not rising to flaunt. You're rising to prove that trusting God is never a waste of time. You're becoming the story someone else will cling to when they're on the edge of giving up. So let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them witness what favor looks like on someone they overlooked. Because soon, the only words left on their lips will be, "That had to be God." The drought is over. The days of scraping, striving, and surviving on scraps are behind you now. Chosen one, you are stepping into a sacred reversal, supernatural flipping of every script that once kept you bound to lack. This is not just a break in the storm. It is the end of the storm. Let this be clear. The days of lack are gone forever. You've carried burdens no one else could see. You've stood in checkout lines hoping your card wouldn't decline. You've stayed up late wondering how to stretch not just your paycheck, but your hope. Asterisk. There were days when you made miracles with little, and no one celebrated it because they didn't know what you were truly up against. But God saw. Heaven recorded every sacrifice, every moment you gave when you had nothing left, every time you tithed with trembling hands, every time you sowed a prayer instead of panic. That faith, it was currency in the spirit. And now, the vault is being opened. This new season isn't just about increase, it's about restitution. What was taken? What was withheld? To what was delayed, it's all being returned with divine interest. God is not giving you just enough to get by. He is releasing overflow to cover what you lost and prepare you for what's next. The famine was a setup for the feast. And here's the shift. Where once you had to fight for every inch, now things will begin to flow. Asterisk. That job you were chasing, it'll chase you. That opportunity you thought was gone, it'll resurface better than before. That creative idea that sat dormant, it's about to explode with impact and revenue. You don't need to be afraid of success. Chosen one. You were made for it. God is rewriting your relationship with money, with resources, with provision. No longer will you see wealth as something distant, something reserved for others. It is your inheritance, not because you're greedy, but because you're trusted. Asterisk. You've shown that money will not master you, it will serve your purpose. There is no glory in poverty. There is no honor in endless struggle. That was never God's design for his children. He is Jehovah Jireh, just the God who provides barely enough. Asterisk. But the God who provides more than enough. And if you still feel a twinge of guilt when you think about receiving abundance, let this sink in. Your wealth will not just bless you, it will liberate others. Your breakthrough is a domino effect. Your increase is a key to someone else's prison. God is about to make you a distribution center for kingdom resources. Not just a reservoir, but a river. Asterisk. That means you'll not only have what you need, you'll have more than enough to send out, to lift others, to fund visions, to restore families. This is the divine order. The ones who suffered the most lack are now entrusted with the most abundance, because only someone who's tasted emptiness can truly value overflow. So shake off the old mindsets. Shake off the scarcity. Shake off the belief that you have to deserve this blessing. You've already been chosen. You've already been sealed. Now you just have to receive. And let me tell you, God is not releasing pennies. He's releasing generational wealth. Asterisk. Not just finances, but freedom, mental freedom, emotional peace. Opportunities that don't just fill your pockets, they fuel your calling. You've lived long enough under the burden of barely. Now it's time to live in the grace of beyond. Well, this is not prosperity, gospel, it's kingdom alignment. It's heaven saying, you've proven faithful in famine. Now watch me bless you in front of every place that called you forgotten. And the shift isn't coming. It's here. Welcome to abundance. Chosen one. And this time, it's here to stay. The stage is set. The lights are shifting. And you, chosen one, are being elevated publicly, not for vanity, not for clout, but because what God is doing in your life must be seen, so it can become a sign of His glory, a sign of His covenant, a sign that He still raises those who trust Him in secret. You're about to be placed in rooms you didn't apply for. There's a prophetic acceleration taking place, promotions that bypass protocol, invitations that defy logic. People in power will feel a pull to your name, and they won't even know why, but you will. It's not favor, they're responding to the frequency of your calling. The sound of your obedience has reached heaven, and now it's echoing on earth. For too long, you've been hidden behind the scenes, building in silence, waiting, hoping, obeying when no one noticed. But elevation isn't random. It's a response, and your response to God's quiet instructions has made you a candidate for visible glory. And here's what you must understand. This elevation isn't about applause, it's about to assignment. Asterisk. You're not rising so people can cheer. You're rising because people need you. Your voice, your story, your light. You've been forged in fire so you could carry revelation, not just inspiration. When the doors open, you won't have to pretend to be qualified. You are qualified, not by degrees or accolades, but by endurance and alignment. You didn't take shortcuts. You didn't sell out. And because of that, God is trusting you with platforms others had to beg for. And chosen one. When you get there, you won't have to network. You are the network. You won't need to prove yourself. Your presence will speak louder than your words. Because when God elevates you, He wraps you in a grace that makes you undeniable. You'll sit at tables where people once said you'd never belong. And the moment you speak, they'll realize, this is the one we've been waiting for. You won't just fit the role, you'll redefine it. But elevation brings responsibility. You must stay rooted in why you started. You must stay grounded in who sent you. Don't let the applause confuse you. This isn't a popularity contest. It's a kingdom mission. Your visibility is a vehicle for God's voice. Remember David, anointed in the field, elevated to the throne. But it wasn't the throne that made him powerful. It was the field that prepared him. And you, too, have been prepared in the private place. That's why you won't crumble when the spotlight hits. You were built for it. There will be moments when the weight of visibility feels like too much, when the pressure to maintain the image becomes louder than the call. In those moments, return to the secret place. That's where your power is. Not in performance, but in presence. This elevation will expose some things. 2. False friendships, hidden envy, silent competition. But don't panic. Exposure is part of expansion. God is not just lifting you up, He's lifting the veil. So you can see who was really for you and who was just nearby for the benefits. And yes, it will feel strange at times. To be seen, to be praised, to be pursued. But keep your eyes on the true prize, impact. Asterisk. This isn't about becoming famous. This is about becoming effective. God is raising you up so your testimony can raise others. Your platform is not a pedestal, it's a pulpit. And the mic is yours now. Step into the spotlight, not with arrogance, but with assignment. Walk through the doors with confidence, not ego. And when the world finally sees what heaven has always known about you, don't say, I made it. One say, asterisk, he placed me. End quote. Because this moment was never about arrival. It was about activation. You were born for this rise. Now walk it out boldly, humbly, and with holy fire. Chosen one. Don't mistake this overflow for something random or merely personal. This abundance, this wave of blessings crashing into your life, is not for show. It's for purpose. You were never meant to just collect riches. You were designed to distribute destiny. The abundance has a mission. This is where many lose their way. When the blessing finally arrives, they forget what it was for. But not you. You've walked through too much. You've prayed too hard. You've been processed too long to mishandle what's coming. This isn't just a blessing, it's an assignment. The wealth that's on its way to you isn't just for comfort, it's for kingdom construction. Asterisk. You're being entrusted with overflow because God knows you won't hoard it, you'll harness it. And you'll direct it toward broken communities, starving dreams, silenced voices. You won't just build a life, you'll build legacy. And legacy doesn't begin with money. It begins with mission. Asterisk. What burns in your heart? What have you been longing to do, but couldn't afford? That outreach, that shelter, that scholarship fund, that book, business, or non-profit. God didn't forget those visions. He's funding them through you. You've been asking God for provision, but He's been preparing you to become the provision. You are someone's answered prayer. Someone's miracle is on the other side of your obedience. And now, you have the resources to act. But remember, with every blessing comes a battle. The enemy doesn't fear wealthy people. He fears wealthy people with divine mission. Asterisk. People who understand their increase isn't for indulgence, but for influence. That's you. So be wise. Be discerning. Don't just spend. Don't just accumulate. Activate. Ask God daily, what's today's assignment for my abundance? And He will answer. Sometimes with a name, sometimes with a nation, but always with a nudge. You're being called to carry this blessing with clean hands and a clear heart. No guilt, no pride, just responsibility and reverence. And don't think you have to figure it all out right now. God will guide your stewardship the same way He guided your survival day by day, step by step. You don't need a master plan. You need a asterisk, master's hand. There will be divine whispers in your spirit. Give here. Invest there. Support them. Listen closely. Your obedience in these moments will create ripple effects far beyond your lifetime. This is the wealth that matters. The kind that funds destinies. The kind that outlives you. The kind that shifts bloodlines and rewrites generational patterns. The kind that doesn't just buy property but plants purpose. Yes, you will enjoy the fruit of your increase. Yes, you'll experience rest, luxury, and the comfort that comes with provision. But the greatest joy, it won't be what you receive, it will be what you release. You're about to become the person you once prayed to meet. And just as you were faithful in lack, God is calling you to be faithful in plenty. Asterisk. This isn't just another level, it's a whole new realm. A realm where wealth is measured by what you move, not just what you keep. Where influence is tied to intercession. Where favor is linked to faithfulness. Your hands are being anointed to build. Your voice is being amplified to lead. Your resources are being multiplied to liberate. This is divine economics, overflow with assignment, prosperity with a pulse. So prepare yourself. The days of asking for help are turning into days of being the help. The one who lacked is now the lender. The one who waited is now the warrior. The one who hungered is now the harvester. This is what you were born for. Not just to receive, but to release. This is it. Chosen one. The moment your spirit has been preparing for. Everything you've endured. Everything you've overcome. Everything you've believed in. The dark hits, all led to this asterisk. You are standing at the threshold of a divine inheritance. And the door is swinging open. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You simply have to receive it. Let this be your confirmation. The waiting season is over. The striving season is over. The uncertainty, the fatigue, the silent tears, they have served their purpose. Now, the blessing begins. Not just because you asked, but because you endured. Asterisk, because you didn't walk away. Because you didn't let bitterness harden your heart or weariness silence your faith. You kept showing up. You kept believing, and heaven took note. Now God is releasing what was already written. He's activating what was always yours. And the first thing he's sending, peace. Asterisk, not just the absence of conflict, but the overwhelming sense of divine assurance. That knowing deep in your bones that you are seen, supported, and surrounded by something greater than this world. Next comes provision, not the kind that drips slowly, but the kind that overflows suddenly. Not just finances, but ideas, strategies, allies, open doors, anointing, favor that moves mountains without you even lifting a finger. And finally comes purpose. Asterisk, because your breakthrough isn't just for you. It's through you. What's flowing into your life will flow through your life. You are not just being restored, you are becoming a restorer. Chosen one. You're not dreaming anymore. You're stepping in. Let these affirmations seal this season. I am no longer bound by fear, scarcity, or shame. I walk in divine timing and supernatural ease. I release control and trust in God's perfect provision. I receive my inheritance with joy, humility, and power. I am chosen. I am trusted. I am equipped. And now, let heaven bear witness. The courts of heaven have convened. The angels have been dispatched. The decree has been sealed in the spirit and echoed across dimensions. You are released into your inheritance. Asterisk. Every force that tried to delay you is now silenced. Every curse that tried to follow you is now broken. The heavens are declaring it. The earth will soon reflect it. You are blessed. You are marked. And you are moving forward. So step into your new chapter. Step in with confidence, not caution. With joy, not fear. Because this isn't just another cycle, it's your divine launching. This is the beginning of the extraordinary. If this word stirred something deep in you, don't leave it dormant. Speak it aloud. Write it down. Declare it in your atmosphere. Your alignment matters now more than ever. And as always, stay connected to SoulScripture. We are walking this path with you, every step of the way. And remember, the wealth that's coming is just the beginning. The peace you feel, it's permanent. The door that opened, it won't shut. You're not just chosen, you're positioned, asterisk, and you're not going back. You've just crossed over. But what's waiting for you on the other side? Next time, we'll explore the 3 tests every chosen one must pass after the breakthrough. Your journey just accelerated, and SoulScripture will be right here with you for every step, every revelation, every rise.